Are you a new mom struggling with low milk supply? Have you been trying to breastfeed your baby to no avail? Do you really want to breastfeed your baby exclusively for the stipulated period of time? If your answer was yes to these questions, then I think this is the video for you. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mary Jane Epechi, a mom and a public health professional. I make videos on health, lifestyle, events, and more. If this is the kind of video you enjoy, please do consider subscribing and join the family. Thank you. Oftentimes, people shy away from issues surrounding breastfeeding. Maybe because they're too ashamed to speak up for fear of bash from society, or they don't just have anyone to talk to. Breastfeeding can really be a struggle for new moms, especially for first-time moms. I know that not every mom can breastfeed their baby, either due to mastitis, which is a painful infection of the breast tissue, or due to breast surgery or other health issues. And that's absolutely fine. But if you can, and you desire to breastfeed your baby exclusively, it is achievable. I'm going to share few tips in a moment, but I would like to leave a disclaimer. I am not a medical doctor, neither am I a trained lactation consultant. A lactation consultant is basically a breastfeeding expert that helps new moms with breastfeeding issues. Nonetheless, every tip that I'm going to share in this video are things that helped me and from my personal experience. Number one tip I'll say is rest. I know that you must have heard that 1,000 times and you're wondering, is this even possible for a new mom? Is this possible, my dear? It is possible if you're deliberate and bring out your time and be intentional about it. See, resting helps to release hormones called endorphins, which blocks your body's response to stress. When you're relaxed, you are happy. You tend to produce more milk. If resting seems almost impossible, I advise you get a new help. Most times, some moms don't like leave-in help, but you can get a leave-out help that comes every day or 3 times a week to relieve you of stress. This part of the world where I live, that is Nigeria, once a woman delivers, the mom comes over to help take care of the mom and the new baby. This usually lasts for a period of 3 to 6 months, depending on how fast the mom heals and how she has adapted to the new role of being a mom. This brings me to my next point. Having a good support system. I cannot overemphasize this. Having a good support system matters a lot, as this relieves you of stress. Remember what I talked about rest. When you have a good support system, you can have time to rest, right? And then it will release endorphins, which makes your body's calm and happy, and then you produce more milk. A good support system can be your partner, your mom, any other relative, or even a nanny. Do you know that your mood can actually affect your milk supply? Yes, it's true. Your mood can actually affect your milk supply. When you're happy and relaxed, you produce more milk. But when you're sad, angry, depressed, weak, you see that your milk supply begins to diminish. The truth is, you cannot do everything alone, and that's the truth. Try to ignore some things. Okay, try to ignore some things. If you're like me that wants everywhere clean all the time, learn to do, like I had to learn to do that. I had to be conscious, I had to be intentional, although it took some time, but I had to be intentional. And then when you have all these people around, your support system, your mom, a nanny, or your partner, they will help, you know, relieve you of stress, and then you don't have to worry so much. Oh, the house is not clean, or I have not cooked. Because if you don't rest, you will actually burn out, and that's just the truth. And the last thing you want as a new mom is to be worn out. My third tip is to drink lots of water. You must have probably heard this a lot, but it does work wonders. Do you know that breast milk contains about 90% of water? 80 to 90% of water. So the more water you drink, the more milk you produce. I know that some of us don't like to drink water a lot. I personally, before, I don't like to drink water a lot, but I had to do what I had to do, and now it's become a lifestyle. As a new mom, you should be consuming about 6 to 8 glasses of water per day. Next tip I'm going to be sharing is breastfeeding cookies, breastfeeding trays. I'm sure some of you have seen a whole lot in the market. Just be careful to take the right ones so that you don't compound calories on top, because the ones I took, you know, had very little amount of calories. So thank God I wasn't worried about really, you know, putting on weight as I then, even though now I have put on weight, which will take me to my next tip. Okay, so try out breastfeeding cookies, breastfeeding treats. Oftentimes it's advised you start taking breastfeeding treats from pregnancy. Some advise you to start taking it from 32 weeks of gestation or 36 weeks of gestation up until delivery, and even after delivery until your milk supply has been fully established. These breastfeeding traits can actually make it very easy for you to put your baby to breast as soon as you deliver. You know that sometimes it's not easy for new moms to put baby to breast soon after delivery, okay? But if you really want to achieve that and you want your baby to take colostrum, which is the first milk being produced that helps fight against infections and diseases and make the baby strong and healthy, do consider taking breastfeeding treats and cookies. My next tip is to continue breastfeeding and don't stop. I know that sometimes it can be frustrating as a new mom. You're breastfeeding, the baby is not breastfeeding properly or latching on properly. Continue. I know that sometimes it's also very painful when you start breastfeeding at first, but just continue. So long as you have been certified healthy and you have not been told that you have mastitis, just continue breastfeeding. With time, the pain will stop. You'll have more milk to breastfeed your baby. If it's too painful, try to use shea butter or nipple creams to help relieve you of the pain. Have you heard of demand and supply? As your baby demands, the more your baby demands, the more you feed, the more milk you produce. Same for pumping. Your baby should actually feed about 8 to 10 times or even 12 times in a day. Yes, 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 yes. Your baby should breastfeed about 8 to 10 times or 12 times a day. This will help produce more milk, and then you should be pumping. If you're breastfeeding, let's say you're breastfeeding 10 times a day, even through the night, you should be pumping, let's say 4 times a day, and then breastfeed 6 times a day if you don't want to be breastfeeding often and often. Also, to relieve you of stress, you can even pump and then store in the fridge, and then when it's time to feed your baby, you thaw it. If you want to see a video on how to do all of these and how to massage your breast to produce milk, do let me know down in the comment section so that I can do a video on that. By the time you establish your milk supply, your baby should have about 6 to 8 wet wipers a day. Okay, also another thing you can try doing is to check if your baby is latched on properly to reduce the pain. Most times we see mothers, you know, putting baby to breast, right? You have to put your baby to breast, not your breasts to the baby. Like oftentimes you then slouch. Sit up well, sit in a good position. You can use breastfeeding pillows to support. When you're relaxed, sitting well and using a breastfeeding pillow to supply and bringing the baby up to your breast, not like this, you will see that your baby will be latched on properly. Another way to ensure that your baby is latched on properly is to make sure you take the baby to the hospital and or ask the nurses and health workers at the hospital to check if your baby has a tongue tie. Tongue tie is usually when your tongue is attached to the base of the mouth. Sometimes it often prevents babies to latch on properly. Just a very minor surgical procedure. By the time that is done, the tongue tie is removed, your baby can latch on properly, and then you see that your baby sucks more often and well. Another tip I'm going to give is pumping in the mornings, very early in the mornings. I notice that when I pump in the mornings or breastfeed in the mornings, I tend to produce more milk than during the day. Remember your fluid, remember to rest, remember to pump often, remember to breastfeed often. These are the tips I have mentioned so far. Another tip that helped me is bathing. Most times when I bathe in the morning and in the evenings, I notice that I produce more milk. Sometimes in the afternoon when I also take my bath, I notice that I produce more milk, mostly in the mornings and in the evening. This next tip is eating well and taking fruits. This particular tip has caused a lot of problems. I would say it has caused more harm than good. Now, when I say eating well, I don't mean the normal way we've been doing things, eating a lot of food and then compounding calories on top, especially if you are like me and don't want to put on so much weight. I wish I knew this before, but that's the mistake I made, and then I put on a lot of weight. When they say as a new mom, eat well, they don't mean you should eat and compound a lot of calories. They don't mean you should eat a mountain of food. I know that sometimes it's not easy, right? You have to be intentional. If you want to put on weight, it's fine. If probably maybe you were on the slim side or chubby side, but you want to be chubbier. But if you don't want to put on a lot of weight, see, putting on weight is very easy, but shedding it can be quite difficult. So when they say eat well, they mean eat healthy. Eat well. There are foods that even when you don't eat in large quantity or eat in heaps, you will still produce enough milk. So long as you're drinking water, you're well rested and all of that. After the omega phase, you're trying to, sync yourself all up in a new role of becoming a mom, especially if it's your first baby. You're trying to just adjust to things, and sometimes you can be so exhausted that you can just easily grab fast food from anywhere and then eat. That's why you need to get a help, even if it's just a leave out help. Sometimes you may just be tired to grab something from the fridge and warm, especially when there's no lights or microwave or do anything. And then you see biscuits, snacks, and then you eat. You see ice cream, you eat. No, be intentional. If you have the money, outsource it. Nobody is going to bash you for it. If anybody's bashing you for it, then, but I don't think anybody will bash you for it. Outsource if you have the money. Be intentional. Buy fruits. Watermelon is very good with milk supply and it's so filling. That doesn't mean you won't be taking pap and other things that you were taking during omega, right? But take them in moderation. If you're hungry, if you eat 3 times a day, like a normal adult on the average eats 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But if you're hungry in between, it's understandable because you're a nursing mom. You can just grab fruits. So most fruits are filling. There's banana, there's watermelon. There's certain foods that help with the milk production. Okay, there's Quaker oats, there are almonds. You can even take your breastfeeding cookies, right? And then you're filled and then you produce more milk. Please don't make the mistake and eat and eat and eat. If you cannot quickly grab food from the fridge, please outsource or order so that it will become a lifestyle. You will become intentional about what you consume. Just try to have that self-control, okay? Like I said, it is easy for us to crave a lot because we're breastfeeding. But if that craving comes and you know you've eaten before, just take fruits. Bear in mind that it's just about balance, right? And stick to all the things I have listed. You will see that your milk supply will be established. The next tip I'm going to share is to avoid alcohol or smoking. I'm sure you must be aware of this by now as a nursing mom. Even during pregnancy, you're being advised to stay away from alcohol and smoking. There's this misconception in Africa and in Nigeria that palm wine helps with milk supply. Well, why this is not yet scientifically proven, you should be careful about the quantity you consume. Believe it or not, palm wine contains alcohol. I didn't know this before, to be honest. I just knew it when I put to bed. Just be careful the quantity you consume. The more your palm wine stays, the more fermented it becomes, the more concentrated it becomes, and the more alcoholic it becomes. I didn't know this too. I just knew it when I put to bed. So just be careful. You can take a little quantity. That's why I said it's not yet scientifically proven. But if you must consume and do so in moderation. You see, alcohol can actually be passed down to your baby during breastfeeding. It can also reduce your milk supply. Yes, you heard me right. That is why they tell nursing moms not to take alcohol. It can diminish your milk supply very well. I'll tell you a story. When I put to bed last year and then I was trying everything to up my milk supply, I remember trying out palm wine, and then one day my husband went to work and I was like, please get me palm wine when you're coming back from work. When he came back that day, I didn't take it that day. I put it in the fridge and I took it the next day. It was so sweet that I took about 5 glasses. You heard me right? 5 glasses. And then I became drunk. For the first time in my life, I became drunk. I didn't know what I was doing, even though I was a bit, conscious of some things that I was doing. But I will breastfeed my baby. My baby will be so uncomfortable with crying. He's a baby. He can't talk. He'll be crying, disturbing. And then when I started doing my research and asking questions, that was when I found out that glass I took, like 5 glasses that I took, was what actually hindered. And then it has fermented. It has stayed long. I think the palm wine has stayed up to 3 days or 5 days before I actually consumed that quantity. And I told myself never. And that's when I started my research and doing everything, all of these tips that I'm sharing here, and that's what helped me. My last tip is to guard your mental space. Do not allow any negative energy come close to you. As a new mom, it's very easy for you to fall into depression. So you don't want any negative energy around you. You want to always be happy. Surround yourself with people who make you happy. Surround yourself with family that make you happy. Surround yourself with people that are genuinely happy for you. Filter what you hear. Filter advices that you hear. Filter what you see and read on social media. If what you're seeing on social media or a page you're following is beginning to make you feel some sort of way, please unfollow that page immediately. Guard your mental space. The more happy you are, the more well rested you are, the more milk you produce. With that being said, I've come to the end of everything, the tips that I did to help me establish my milk supply. If you're a new mom, or if you're a mom, a veteran mom, and you have more tips, please feel free. We're a community of women trying to help ourselves. Feel free to put down your comments down in the comment section and just leave your thoughts. Don't forget to like this video, give it a big fat thumbs up, subscribe, share, and comment. Also, please let me know down in the comment section what videos you would like me to do, either on health, events. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.